Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting over Cowboy Bebop Episode 6. If you'd like to watch along, start watching now. Alright. So this first scene here, it appears to be some sort of medical procedure. Rather grungy looking. It doesn't look officially sanctioned, as it were. It seems to be a sort of ad hoc kind of thing. And if memory serves, this is like the first time we really get any kind of an insight into a little bit of Spike's past. I think that's sort of the first reference to the false eye that he has. So that's pretty interesting. And it also appears to have been a sort of involuntary flashback on Spike's part. And quite frankly, the idea of any kind of surgery on my eyes is not something I relish, so I don't particularly blame him for being distressed about it. Meanwhile, it seems like the usual issues that plague the Bebop continue. Which is to say, them being short on food to the point where Faye stoops to eating dog food. I mean, dog food doesn't sound so bad if the alternative is starving, but not a good situation to be in, for sure. So Spike and Jet have clearly locked onto their prey. So it seems like Jet's got an old friend from the police force or something like that. Seems like the two of them might have been vying for the same bounty. But Spike's prompting has sort of allowed him to get the drop on the prey without Jet's acquaintance interfering. So it seems like the guy that Spike is currently following is also following someone else. The plot thickens. So it seems like the guy that Spike was following seems to be an assassin of some sort. He doesn't strike me quite as the bounty hunting type. Well, whatever he was, he's not having a very good day considering he just got hurled out a window. Don't imagine he survived that, but you never know. Well, judging by the bullet wounds, I think it's fair to say he did not. So at this dying breath, the man sort of gives Spike a couple more plot threads, gives him a neat looking rock, says, "Don't be confused by how he looks." So it seems like you sort of put the onus on Spike to kill the guy that he failed to kill. So the crew of the Bebop is still fairly mistrustful in regards to Faye. And to be fair, they have fairly good reason for that. So it seems like there had been a falling out of sorts amongst the people who did the killing and the guy who got killed. So the kid just kind of showed up, and there's not a whole lot that's known about him. So once again, Spike is on the trail, following them around. I mean, he's got to make good on at least one bounty, right? So, interestingly enough, the kid's the one doing the talking and not Zebra, the old man in the wheelchair. It's curious. Alright, so this is where the plot really thickens. Seems like the kid doesn't age at all. He hasn't seemed to have aged a day in 30 years. Judging by the way he talks, he doesn't sound like a kid. So something seriously messed up is going on whereby this kid has not aged at all. Definitely something sinister or supernatural. I guess that's where the title Sympathy for the Devil comes in. Given that, I don't know, it probably sucks to not age, especially if you're a kid. So it seems like this is the inciting incident, as it were. Not entirely clear exactly what it is that's happening. I don't know, some kind of cosmic event? Solar radiation or something like that? Well, whatever it is, it sure did a number on the planet. And oddly enough, the kids survived, but everybody else around him are a bunch of charred corpses. Alright, so it was the hyperspace gate, so it's some weird quantum physics thing going on. Of course, that doesn't really explain why he survived and was rendered immortal, whereas everyone else died. But maybe that's not especially important. So the kid mentions the ring, leading me to believe it's got some extra significance that we weren't made aware of originally. Alright, so the kid clearly has no compunctions about playing dirty, given how he just pushed an old guy in a wheelchair down the stairs to distract Spike. Alright, so he finally caught a bullet to the noggin, but if what he's been saying is true, then he's likely not dead. Given that there's no body, I think it's pretty safe to say he's not dead. Alright, so Jet's telling Ein to stop barking, telling him not to be obnoxious, and given what we know about Ein being the hyper-intelligent animal he is, he's probably noticed something important. Something that's been missed by the rest of the crew. So based on the old man's memories, it becomes clear that the ring, for whatever reason, is the key to killing the kid. So it's only with the ring does anybody actually stand a chance of killing him and having it stick. Otherwise, presumably, he'll just heal from whatever injuries he sustains. So there's some interesting pseudoscience explanation for why the kid doesn't age. But they fashioned part of the gemstone into a bullet. So, in theory, that bullet will kill the kid. But neither of them really know that for sure, but Spike's more than willing to test it out, see how it works. Faye is notably none too confident in Spike's ability. I find that interesting considering what she's been through already. You know, that's another thing I remember being a running theme in Cowboy Bebop. The dichotomy between men and women, where men will say women are honorless and women will say men are stupid. And how those are just sort of common beliefs that seem to be held. It's already been brought up a couple times in this episode, just things Jet's been saying, and just now Faye said it again. Just makes you think. Alright, so Spike derailed the taxi the kid was driving in, and it drove into a gas station, and for any normal person, that would be a probably pretty quick death, but obviously not for this kid. So they're sort of playing a game of chicken, where the kid's shooting at Spike and deliberately missing, or only striking glancing shots to make sure he doesn't flinch. Spike's leveling the gun at him, and the kid obviously thinks, I can survive this. But it strikes him right in the forehead, and you can tell by the look on his face that clearly something is not right. Yeah, he immediately begins to wither and age into an old, frail, I guess husk for lack of a better term. I find it interesting that even after being shot in the forehead, he didn't die instantly. Even after withering, he's still capable of talking. So that's interesting. The kid talks about being finally able to die, and he says, do you understand? And Spike says, yeah, I understand, as if. So, I think there are a couple layers to that. Because on the one hand, obviously, Spike is not immortal. So he truly doesn't understand. But on the other hand, that's sort of a running theme, and I know it comes up later, where Spike talks about how he's not alive, he is dead. And he's persisting through habit, if nothing else. So I think Spike is being a little more truthful than he might otherwise let on in that instance. So it looks like, based on this bit at the end, it looks like the next episode's going to be that heavy metal space trucker episode. And, as a concept, I think space trucking's pretty cool. It's a neat concept that I think doesn't get explored often enough. But that's for next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, then stick around because there will be another one next week.